Whew. Woo. Live from Armory Studios in Central Florida. Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Drop all gas, no break.
And now, give it up for your hosts, CJ, Kevin, and Harrison. Take it away, boys.
Shout out to the gunner.
What's going on, Jets Nation? Welcome to the jungle, baby. We're back, Weapons Hot, on WWSRN, here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, CJ the Painkiller D. Simone, and I'm joined, as always, by my all-star squadron. This is the crew right here. All right, so let's kick it off.
Gotta love it.
If it'll ever.
You gotta love it.
Obviously, I did not get a new computer. It's okay. Yeah.
Now, here's a little story.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the man, the myth, the legend, back from COVID protocol, concussion, and vacation protocol. For Mr. Kevin Jackson.
That's my favorite thing in the world.
Be outdone. Yeah, when it works, it's great. It's just when it doesn't work, it's frustrating because then it's just all this dead air. Ladies and gentlemen, not to be outdone. It is coming to you live from his top secret bunker in Idaho. You know him, you love him. Gamers of the world unite for Jimmy the Reaper Jardine.
I love that song.
Kevin, we'll start with you. What's going on with you, brother? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you, my man, Mr. Jardine. You know I love you. Much respect. The whole thing. It's been a minute. It's very good to see you. You know what? I'm excited. It's good to be back. I was just the sickest that I've ever been in my entire life. Just this last week, and y'all know I'm a man of faith in particular. But I prayed for healing in that moment because I'm dead up. I had I guess what was the weird combination of having gotten my COVID booster and then got COVID and the flu at the same time. So yeah, I was pretty sick. Yeah, it's good to be back. Let's talk football because that's gonna kill me. Let's not talk about that anymore.
Yeah, you ain't kidding about that. So, Jimmy, talk to me. What's going on, brother? How are you? Happy New Year to you. Tell me what's going on in Barron.
It's been pretty good. Had a good Christmas. Had a good New Year's. Me and the ladies just kind of hung out and spent some time together and enjoyed ourselves. And then we got a bunch of snow. We got a bunch of snow about 2 or 3 days ago, and I tore my calf muscle slipping on the snow.
What?
Yep.
Jim's on the IR. Out for the season.
I was helping one of my mom's friends take some groceries into her apartment, and I put this big case of water over my shoulder, and I turned to walk towards the apartment, and I slipped. And you know when you slip, but you catch yourself.
Yeah.
And I heard a pop, and I was like, "Well, that's not good because that instantly hurts."
Man.
Yeah, my physical therapist said that the muscle looks like it disconnected from the bone, and that's what it's a small tear. She's like, it sounds awful and it sounds horrendous, but she's like, it's actually fairly common. She's like, just keep it stretched, keep massaging it if you can, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So that was my.
All right, so we got a lot of ground to cover, my friend. It's been a long time. We definitely have to. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about Jets Bucks, but we're also going to dip our toe into the water at Jets Jackson was last week. As you guys know, for the past couple weeks, took weeks off for the holiday to enjoy Christmas and New Year's with our families and stuff. Now we're back at it, 2022. So we got a lot of stuff, a lot of content that we're going to be bringing. We're back on Friday nights every 7 p.m. So pretty much, unless there's some sort of a dire emergency, we are going to be broadcasting. Also tonight, after the Worldwide Sports Radio Network show, I invite you guys to tune over to youtube.com, as Weapon Todd will be hosting After Dark. We do have a special guest who's going to join us tonight. I'm not going to reveal his name. I'll wait till he pops on, because it was kind of a question mark type deal, whether going to come on or so, whether his availability is going to be able to come on tonight. So again, just a little teaser earlier in the show. But let's talk about the stuff that's kind of been a hot button topic right now. Jets Buccaneers. Jets losing a very, very close one, 28-24. Tom Brady with another miracle, less than 2-minute drive, something he's done to the Jets for years. Okay, but it all culminated from the draw, where the Jets had fourth and about a yard and a half with goal to go. So, Kevin, it's been a while. I want to talk to you. We'll start off with you, then we'll swing around to Jimmy. Give me your thoughts on the game. Give me your thoughts on the play call. And most of all, give me your thoughts on Zach Wilson. Is the arrow finally up? Or are we at the status quo that we were at the beginning of the season?
Realistically, I thought it was a fantastic game. I think that we actually saw positive directional movement in every phase of the game in particular. And I mean, I do mean every phase. You guys know how much I love talking about special teams. Look, Zach Wilson is doing what it is that we kind of wanted him to do earlier. I think that the reality is anyone that says that they watch the game and can't recognize in what it is that they see a much improved and much more confident and much more comfortable a kid who is looking like he's figuring it out. And that's, to me, I mean, that was the point, right? We've been talking about that all season. CJ famously says, yeah, wins and losses don't matter. Wins and losses don't matter. And I got to a point where I actually started to believe that, because the reality is I just wanted to see good football. I think we all just want to see good football. But we want to see, we want to see what all the pieces look like when they're all together. And at this point in time, we're looking like Rubik's Cube, where the kid pulled all the stickers off and there's the stickers all over the table, but they're not on the cube. You know what I'm saying? And we keep spinning. We might get one or two in a row, right? But still, we can't get it all in because not everybody's there. And I think as far as the game is concerned, I think that was obvious. If I'm just going to discuss Zach in particular, I think Zach did yesterday enough to be able to win a Super Bowl with this franchise if Joe Douglas is competent with what it is that he is tasked to do over the course of these next few years. And I'm not saying, look at Super Bowl in 2014, 2024, 2025. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that as these really storied franchises evolved, it took time. And I think that Zach, again, yesterday showed enough, man. Look, if I'm looking at that game, I'll just say that he showed more than what it is that I saw from Trent Dilfer and that season that the Ravens won the Super Bowl. I'll just give you that. I think it was a better performance than that. And I mean, that's not really saying a lot when we're talking about Trent Dilfer in particular. But what I'm talking about is the poise, the being able to read the what's in front of him and take what's available. And I think, Mike LaFleur dialed up a really good game. I think it was an extremely descriptive game for what it is that we want and need to have happen in order for this offense to be successful. I saw all of it. And once everything comes into play with all of the receivers and running backs and offensive line, when everybody gets in line, I think we're going to score a lot of points.
All right, Jimmy, shoot, talk to me. What are your thoughts? Again, same question that I asked Kevin. What are your thoughts on the game? What were your thoughts on the play call of fourth and a half a yard? Salah being aggressive, trying to get the first down or the touchdown in case instead of just kicking the field goal there. What are your thoughts on Zack Wilson?
Sorry, I missed it. Excuse me.
Well, I thought that Kevin hit the nail on the head. Like, we saw every phase of the game play at a higher level than we have all year, and we saw them both do it here on the same game for mostly the whole game. We've had those games where the offense takes off, and then the defense is a New York City subway turnstile, and we saw the defense just lock everything down, and the offense couldn't move the ball to save their life. They put it together on both sides of the ball the whole game, and I absolutely love that. We held Tampa Bay to 81 rushing yards.
Think about it.
I mean, those running backs are no slouches. Fournette wasn't really there, but I mean, they got some good backs on that roster.
The back they had running ran for 100 some yards anyway.
I forget his name, but Vaughn, I think.
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn.
But like, Wilson managed the game. Like, he looked like a professional quarterback. The team looked like a real football team.
Oh yeah.
And, Zach Wilson managed the game. He spread the ball around. He was accurate. He ran the ball. Like, he moved the ball well. I didn't see anything noteworthy, I guess, to point out as far as a negative. I mean, we were missing most of our D-line. So we didn't get the pressure that we wanted, but think about that. Even like, we couldn't pressure Tom Brady, and we still held that offense to that low of rushing yards, to where the fact of the matter is Tom Brady had to pull a game-winning drive out of it. He had to throw for 400 plus yards and 3 touchdowns to beat the Jets. He had to
in the last minute.
Yeah, that's what he had to do. And we got treated with an Antonio Brown fiasco, so I mean, that's always a plus.
That was wonderful. Yeah, that was a plus.
I think it was a great game. I think the coaching staff on both sides of the ball did really well. I think Ulbrich really made a statement for his job next year.
Yeah.
Not that I'm advocating for. I please, God, don't get rid of any of the coaches. Just let us have the same staff for a few years in a row. That'd be nice. But Ulbrich made a statement. LaFleur had a lot of cool play calls. Even though it didn't work, I like the fake field goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just take the swing, man. Go for broke. What do you have to lose? We were eliminated 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you have to lose? Let's just pull out all the stops. This is a Super Bowl champs, and we held them. And we're beating them, which leads me into the 4th and 2. I mean, questionable play call. Salas taking the heat for it, as he should. I would say there's some people that say that it was Wilson that made the call. Some people think it was Salah that made the call. I think it was likely LaFleur that made the call. But it's just something like, we talk about it because we didn't expect it.
No.
So, I mean, in a sense, it makes sense. Like, nobody would expect a 4th and 2 quarterback sneak. And what would a field goal have done? The Bucks, didn't they go for 2 anyway? My stream froze up.
Yeah.
So they went for 2 anyway. So a field goal would have only put us ahead by 7. So I mean, you can't say just put the points on the board when it didn't matter, because that would have given Brady more time, which it turns out he didn't need.
Yeah, anyway.
So I just think I don't think you can boil
Right.
down the game. I don't think you can boil down the game to this one play call and call the game good or bad. I think it was a bad play call. I think a jet sweep to Barrios is a guaranteed touchdown in that situation.
Yeah.
But Tampa Bay could have also been looking for that because it's so effective. So I don't know. I'm not the head coach. It's sort of similar to last year, the cover zero call. I think Greg Williams made the right call on that play, but
couldn't execute.
Well, I mean, they burned our cover three,
Yeah.
the play before
Yeah.
on that one. So
I
don't know.
I'm gonna keep it real because I realize obviously I failed to touch upon that when I had my time, and obviously I don't want to take up too much time right now, but the narrative behind that I think is a bigger deal than the actual play call itself, right?
Sure.
You know, all of the nonsense that's been being discussed, and Twitter, Facebook, whatever, talking about attitudes and all that. Yeah. Look, the fact that we were going for it on 4th and 2. Come on, man.
I love that call.
I'm just saying, and it shows balls. It shows balls, and it shows that we have an emerging attitude on offense that I think is gonna. When I say we're gonna score a lot of points, I say that for a reason.
I love the decision to go for it on 4th. I don't love the play call. That's ultimately what it breaks down as.
Yeah.
What about you?
All right.
CJ?
Well, I'm about to throw my 2 cents in here. My producing stuff and sharing the show on the background there. Clark was out saying wins and losses don't matter. What with the question mark, and especially in a rebuilding year, Carl. And thank you again for tuning in. In a rebuild year, wins and losses really don't matter. It's more so the development of your players. And you know what? This was probably the best football game that the New York Jets played this season so far, up to this point. And that also includes Zach Wilson. We did an improvement over the last. They get smacked in the face by the Saints. They show up for 30 minutes against the Dolphins. They kind of get into like a slap fight with the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? 2 teams that are struggling back, so they're still trying to find their way, and ends up getting the best of that contest. All right, now you go into a toe-to-toe battle with the defending world champs, all right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then people want to pour cold water on the take and saying that, oh, the Buccaneers had a bad game, they had an off game. What was their excuse against the New Orleans Saints then, where they got blanked? I mean, Tom Brady's not leading a 32nd ranked offense in the NFL. I think the Bucs offense is ranked like 8th, 10th, or something like that. Jimmy, you would probably know better than me, Scott.
The Jets offense is ranked 20th.
One of the things that I immediately want that I immediately want to dispel is the fact that the Bucs had an off game and they let the Jets hang with them for the majority of the game, which is some of the takes that I've seen on both Twitter and Facebook from just random comments, from random posts, and just random tweets that are out. I think that's just asinine. All right, because the New York Jets game for about the way. The Tampa Bay had the lead for all of 15 seconds. Okay? They had the lead 14 seconds. Okay, because there was basically 15 seconds left to go in the game before the Jets got the back.
Yeah.
Right. So, again, that to me just kind of is, again, you're not really paying attention to what this season is about. we could go back to the comments made on SNY about the game. We could go back to the comments made by certain fans of some were mad. Some were like, this game was trash. Some were like, some were on the there were various amounts of comments made of the game. And I'm stuttering and I can't. So I'm going to save my actual thoughts for the After Dark show. But some of the comments I felt were asinine, and some of the comments I felt were very appropriate, where the Jets could be proud of. There are no moral victories in football, but this one's got to be an exception to the rule. Salah was a class act in the post-game press conference where he took the hit. He explained what was going on the 4th and yard and a half call, where apparently it was supposed to be a jet sweep to Barrios, but Zach Wilson has the option that if he sees something, he can call his own number. He saw something that saw the A open up, in which the defense kind of baited him into opening up the A, trap him, and that was the reason why he didn't make the first down. So the play call was designed to get the first down. The problem is that the wrong player ran the play call. I don't have an issue with it. I like the that Salah was aggressive. I like the fact that they didn't settle for the field goal to go up by 7, because if on the ensuing drive, guess what? Tom Brady scores a touchdown and they still go for 2. The Jets are losing. So now you're asking the New York Jets to come in a particular point, a particular point in time. Hey, we want you to drive field in seconds to try and get to field goal range. Eddie Pinheiro is supposed to hit a 72-yard field goal? Mm-hmm. Is that going on here? Is that what we're asking this guy to do? So, soundly, I kind of get where the angst was, but I didn't understand the criticism and the fire that came after me. But if you take a look over the 3, and again, I apologize, I'm having internet issues over here. So I do apologize for the lag and the stuff in the background going on. But nevertheless, I could understand the angst toward the middle of the season when we were getting our doors blown off by double digits. But over the 3 games that I just mentioned, Miami, Jacksonville, and now Tampa, this team has steadily started to make – you're starting to see what Robert Saleh is trying to build. You are starting to see what Mike LaFleur wants and expects. That being said, I came out with Jimmy. Jimmy, you're my witness, a couple of weeks ago, and I said I didn't think that this was a Jeff Ulbrich issue. I think that this is a talent issue, where a lot of people were calling for Jeff Ulbrich to be fired, especially our buddy Guy Fisher, who's in the comments every single week, right? Guy Fisher's in the comments every single week going, Jeff Ulbrich got to be fired. He got to go now. This defense sucks. Keeping up points at a historic rate, and he's right. But now we're starting to see what the Tampa Bay game was the type of game that we expected to see at the beginning of the season and, quite frankly, all season. I think that Joe Douglas and Salah maybe overplayed their hand a little bit by throwing Zach Wilson in early, thinking that he was ready. But, in a way, maybe for the kid to get the baptism because we're seeing him play smarter. He's able to hit those ball screens and 2-yard and 3-yard dump-off passes like he's doing it in his sleep so far, knock on wood. All right? I'm still not 100% sold on the kid, and I'll probably save my overall decision until after we finish the Bills game. And by the way, our special guest is with us. I got him backstage. I'm going to bring him on in just a moment as we preview Jets Bills. But I want to finish off my with this. If you game versus Tampa Bay, and you strictly looked at the stat line, you strictly looked at the score, and you are making the based off of that the Jets just had another game that they sucked, then you're missing the whole picture. Then maybe you need to go back and watch the game again and see listen to the little things that went on during the course of the game, and how all the Jets needed in that game was a little bit of killer instinct. And I think that was the reason why Salah was aggressive. He wanted to show that he had confidence in his guys, that they could go out and get that win. It had nothing to do with Zach Wilson and his ego. It had nothing to do with anybody. They were all trying to win the game. What if they would have Jets and Berrios get stopped for a 2-yard loss? Are we having the same conversation right now? I just want to know. Because if you're going to piss and bitch about one thing, then piss and bitch about everything. Don't just pick and choose what you want to piss and bitch about. I mean, am I right or am I wrong, guys? Talk to me.
I absolutely agree. And just so we're aware, Tampa Bay is number 1 in passing offense, number 1 in passing touchdowns, number 1 in passing yardage, number 1 in receptions, number 1 in just about every passing category. Running game yardage wise is not so great, but they are pretty much a solid rushing team inside the red zone, which is another big part of it. But they're number 1 for a reason in those categories, is because they can. And they don't necessarily need the running game at this particular moment. That offensive line is protecting Brady, and he's doing what he does. So I think we pressured Brady enough with some backup D linemen. I think our defense, our linebackers did a great job. I think our secondary did a great job. There was so much more than the stat line. You know, what was the number one thing? The Jets were giving away, like, I think one of the stats against New Orleans was the Jets were giving away like 130 yards before contact that game.
Yep.
Something like that. And we held Keyshawn Vaughn and that running game to 81 total yards of rushing. Like, you can't complain about that. I don't understand the hate. I don't understand the complaining. It's like every single Jets fan. I think, Kev, you and me were like the only ones talking about wins and losses preseason. Everybody else. I don't care about wins and losses. I just want to see progression. I want to see improvement. We start seeing the improvement. They're like, everybody's like, they're still losing games. What do you want? I don't understand it, man. CJ, you hit the nail on the head.
So, Kevin, what are your thoughts? Because I'm curious. Oh, looks like we lost Kevin for a moment. He must be having some tech. In the meantime, while I'm trying to get what we're back, I want to bring on our special guest here. We're kind of going to shift gears a little bit earlier than thought of. Hang on a second. I'm getting a message. All right. So, Jimmy, really quick before I bring on my special guest, I see that wants to be talked about. So let's go ahead and get that on. All right. Brandon Eccles getting Tom Brady's autograph after the game after picking him off at halftime.
Dude, I think that's a baller move by Eccles. How are you going to be the rookie corner? You're going to go up to I didn't even want to say the word. You guys know the word I'm talking about.
Tim.
The G
Tim.
word.
It's Tim.
The Tim Brody G word.
It's Tim.
Anyway,
So
you walk up to that. You walk up to that man with the ball that you intercepted, and you get him to autograph it. Tom, he even went on an interview and said that he probably will never do that again. Like, good for you, Brandon. Good for you. That's a baller move.
Brandon caught him off guard, but I think that it was the boldness of the move that did kind of catch him off guard. You're right. That's gangster. Like, yo, sign this ball for me, right? This is the same one. Yeah.
This is a one of one. This is a one of one.
This is good. We're not going to have this opportunity again. I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity, and I'm going to get something, and I'm going to put on the ball, and I'm going to tell my grandkids and my great grandkids that ball right there. Yeah, I picked off Tim in his last game.
And the thing about it is, the media like to spin that as Jets fans weren't happy about it. I don't know if you guys saw this. I saw one guy, one pundit or one analyst say it was a bad thing.
Yeah, whatever.
But that dude was getting ratioed on Twitter. And I searched and searched. And I couldn't find Facebook, Twitter. I could not find a Jets fan that thought it was messed up, that thought it was bad. So there's the media.
It was the one guy. That's why he got roasted.
It was the one guy, and he got straight bodied on Twitter. I'm talking hundreds of comments.
I think I threw a match at him myself.
My guy needs to delete the tweet.
Delete the tweet.
Hashtag that. Hashtag delete the tweet.
He's still doing numbers with it. He's still doing numbers. People going back still talking about that.
Right.
You dummy, right? even
like
today.
It's just like that Schlereth thing. It's just making him relevant at this point. So.
Yeah. Schlereth.
Right.
That was stupid. That was
all right,
need
guys.
to bring that up on After Dark because I'm going to swear and I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's definitely for the dark vehicle. What I want to do is here's a little bit early. I want to get on, I guess, as we start review New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. I know I did say we were going to talk a little bit about the Jacksonville game. I will talk about that a little bit later on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce Mr. Ryan Thomas, host of the Thomas Take Sports podcast, who's going to help us with this Jets Bills preview to finish. Ryan, how are you?
I am fantastic, CJ. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Loud and clear. Okay,
yes,
good.
We can hear you great, man.
Glad to hear it. Awesome. So, yeah, CJ, it's a pleasure as always being back on the show. Pleasure joining you guys as well on the show tonight. We got a big game this Sunday. In case you're living under a rock, Jets fans, I know Bills fans. We're excited for this one to end the season at home. Is always nice, and to play the New York Jets, who, as CJ knows, I'm a straight shooter. I like to pay the opposition some compliments. Robert Salas, hey, he's got the young kids ready. We'll talk about that, I'm sure of it. But I've been impressed, despite the win-loss record of the New York Jets in some of these games. They've played very tough and have shown a very respectable effort. So shout out to your Jets, guys. I want to compliment you guys before I obviously gloat over the success of the Buffalo Bills this season.
That's what I was waiting for. No, I'm just playing. Ryan, welcome back once again. We appreciate having you, and as always, it's going to be fun, man. Look, Buffalo again is, and I mean, we talked about it on this show. Buffalo again is, I guess just the way it's going to shake out, the best team in the AFC East right now. So, props have been earned. So you'll definitely get him here. But we always play Buffalo tough. I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be interesting to talk about. I don't know if CJ had something specific. Like I know we were talking earlier about getting into some of the old from the previous game, but I don't, are we still there, CJ? What do we do next?
Yep. Right. What I want to do is, Ryan. Obviously, this is an important game for you guys. Some may feel like the Bills really don't need this game. You guys are guaranteed a playoff spot regardless. But if you beat the Jets and the Patriots somehow lose their full game, you guys will end up with the AFC East Division crown and a home playoff game. If the reverse that were to happen, if the Jets were to beat the Bills, okay, and New England were to go ahead and to win their football game, then New England would get the AFC East crown and a game for the first round. The only thing that's still not clear to me, what happens if the Jets end up beating the Bills, New England ends up losing their game? Who goes to who gets the AFC?
Who would win the AFC East is the Buffalo Bills. That's who would win the AFC East, right? I mean, Buffalo would have. I thought it would go by divisional record, and Buffalo would have 2 division losses. I think the Patriots, if the Patriots lose, wouldn't they have 3? Depending on who do the Patriots play? I don't even know off the top of my head. I probably should know that, but I've been so diving deep into this game that I haven't even kept track of who New England's playing yet.
Come on.
So, Jimmy, want to look that up for me?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
So, in any event, one of the things that I want to go through while we're getting that information.
Dolphins, excuse me. They're playing Miami. Pardon me. I finally found it.
Okay.
Buffalo would win if both
playing
teams
Miami.
lost.
Okay, that's who I thought. They were playing. Which, hey, Miami beat them once before, so who's to say it can't happen again?
So the tiebreaker on win-loss,
exactly.
The tiebreaker on win-loss, both would be 10-7, but Buffalo is 4-1 in the division, whereas the Patriots are 3-2.
So New England would be 3-3, Buffalo would be 4-2, and the Bills would win the division. Yeah,
correct.
Yep, awesome
for you.
Okay, so now that we got that, all right, we got that out of the way. This is what some people would have tended to say that. Scott Cleesby, if you're listening to the game, if you're listening to the podcast, I know you're trying to direct message or navigate some traffic here. Check your email. That's all I'm going to tell you. Check your email. Anyhow, getting back to that. What do you expect from the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets? Do you expect a full throttle performance, or do you think that Sean McDermott may end up not wanting to see any of his guys get hurt? So you may see Cole Beasley get pulled. You may see Stephon Diggs get pulled. Maybe even Josh Allen this game at halftime or whatever if the Bills do have a sizable lead. See the Buffalo Bills exactly what they did last year with the Miami Dolphins, where they want to go in as hot and as full throttle as possible. So it's going to be all hands on deck for this game. So did you get that, Ryan?
Yeah, the last part of that I didn't hear, but I did hear the majority of that there, CJ. I think
Rosen.
They will go into this one trying to. Yeah, I did. I got the rest of it there. I do think they will try to go into this one first half very aggressively, and if things go according to plan for the Bills, they would then put their backups in as they did, as you mentioned, against Miami last year, that the benefit of doing that again, outside of the fact that you've essentially clinched yourself a division title and a home game and everything like that, but the benefit of that is I would feel much more comfortable with some of the depth pieces that the Bills have added in a Mitch Trubisky who, if you look at some of the backup quarterbacks in this league, I'm not saying Mitch Trubisky's the next best thing since, sliced bread by any stretch, but he's had a lot of starts in his career. He's a young quarterback, and he's somebody that I would feel comfortable finishing out a game like this if the Bills get off to that hot start. But I'm not so sure that that's going to happen. I think Robert Saleh, as he's proven all season long, essentially that he will coach the Jets up to play up to beyond their standards of expectations and beyond what is seen as their on-paper potential. They're a team that is definitely respected and played hard for their coach. Obviously, it doesn't really show a lot of success in the wins-losses column, but you do see it week to week. They did play Tennessee very well. They beat Tennessee. They beat Cincinnati, and they almost went they went up against Tampa Bay and forced Antonio Brown to be so frustrated that he waved bye-bye to the crowd. So feather in their cap that they were able to do that. And I'm not going to look at the Jets and say that they're just the last place team in the division. They have just as many reasons to play up to or beyond their standards in this one as Buffalo does, to end the season on a solid note and to say, hey, we went to Buffalo, we went to Orchard Park, and we kicked the Bills in the mouth. Do I think that's going to happen? I certainly hope not. But, hey, the Bills did lose. They did lose to Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Don't think I forgot about that.
Yeah, this is true. Ryan, phenomenal points. And look, again, we always play Buffalo tough. I wanted to ask if we have the inclement weather, do you think that evens the playing field a little bit, or do you think that kind of tilts the scale in one direction or the other?
I think all joking aside, I despite the inclement weather that might be in Orchard Park, you still got the 70,000 strong cheering on the Buffalo Bills. I mean, you might have some green jackets in the crowd, but for the most part, it's going to be blue, red, white, and blue in the crowd. And no matter what weather the Jets are accustomed to, no matter what weather the Bills might be accustomed to, it's all about the fans in the stands. I'd say the same thing about the Jets in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and I'd say the same thing about the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park, New York. So, it's going to be an interesting game. I know that this is a much different team than what we faced the first time around. Zach Wilson.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it looks like the internet issues are striking again. So, again, we apologize. We're trying to get Ryan back. I think we're having some buffering issues. Man, this is crazy. So, all right. So really quick, is we're trying to get Ryan. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Am I good?
There he is.
There he is.
All right, there he is.
Back on?
You're back.
All right,
Awesome.
He's back.
Awesome. Sorry about that.
You're back. You're a little bit grainy, but it's a point there.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So if you didn't hear the last part of what I said, as far as Zach Wilson goes, right? So that adds a different dynamic to this game than what we saw the first time around. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that Zach Wilson was a little bit banged up the first time they played Buffalo. So this is going to be every game's a different game. So I'm not going to go in there thinking that Buffalo's just going to blow out the Jets. I think it could be a competitive game. Could be very competitive.
The Jets have always played Buffalo really strong in Orchard Park.
This is true. One of the first fun fact for you guys that I had to tell on the show, one of the first Bills games that I ever went to was a New York Jets Buffalo Bills game. And I sat in one of the few rows that had Jets fans as well. And at that time, there was like a mutual understanding that the Patriots were the king and we were just the run to the litter going through another rebuild. But now, Buffalo's obviously had a lot of success. And I think the Jets are trying, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Jets are trying to implement a very disciplined style of football in this rebuild with Robert Saleh. And one of the teams that they could look at as far as where we were 4 or 5 years ago is the Buffalo Bills and say, hey, they were right where we were 4 or 5 years ago. And 4 or 5 years from now, hopefully we can be where they are as, four playoff appearances in 5 years. We didn't make the playoffs for 17 years. So, that's something that a lot of teams, I'm sure, in the league are looking at as far as how did they get that done and how can we kind of duplicate it, replicate it, copy it, word it. And I think the Jets are going to try to make that happen.
Yeah.
I am hoping we actually take a page out
Kevin,
of
what are your
Cincinnati's
thoughts?
book.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Kev.
What are your thoughts, brother?
What about us? The Buffalo versus Buffalo. Look,
Yep.
Jimmy kind of said it because we were talking about it earlier. We do always play Buffalo hard in Orchard Park. I think the scare that Tampa Bay got last weekend. I don't think that is enough of a fluke to say that we're not going to go into Orchard Park and be able to play, solid enough football to at least be in the conversation when it comes to the end of the game. Look, it is a little bit of a different situation. Buffalo isn't experiencing the type of injury issues I think that Tampa Bay was, at least in that game, and how it affected what we were doing. But realistically, we'll go in, we'll play, decent ball, and we'll probably lose by less than 10. And I think that's optimistic, but it's also just because we are going to get a couple of guys back that are coming off the COVID list, and because again, I think that going into this game, we do have a little bit of momentum. Even in losses, we're starting to see things that we haven't seen before. And Ryan makes a great point. If we're looking at what Buffalo did with after they drafted Josh Allen and how it is that's worked out. I mean, that is something that we can look at. I'm not going to say we try to follow it exactly, but I think there is something to be said for how it is that they went about it. I think that the struggles that we are overcoming right now are maybe a little more ingrained than what it is that Buffalo was going through, when they had to come through that period. But look, I like what it is that I see, and I think that depending upon, the mindset that we come into this game with, right? It is about which team shows up. Depending upon with the mindset that we come to this game with, it could be, the Jets that showed up against Tennessee. It could be the Jets that showed up against the Bengals. It could be the Jets that showed up, against Tampa Bay, and maybe instead of 58 minutes, we get 60 minutes of winning football. We'll see, but it should be a good game. I'm excited about how it's going to play out. I kind of do want to see it cold, just because I kind of want to see how everybody responds. Right? We're still cell scouting a little bit. I kind of hope we do get the snow. I think that'll be fun. Jim, what do you think?
So I have to throw out there the Western New York weather report for Sunday. It's expected to be in the 30s, which 30s in January in Western New York is like 60. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I do expect high winds. And in that stadium, more than just about any other stadium in the NFL, we saw it when the Bills played against the Patriots. The winds were so high that flags around the stadium were flying upward, not side to side. They were just straight up in the air. The flags on the goalposts were falling off. So we could see something maybe not quite that extreme, especially because that game was a primetime game on Monday night against the Patriots. This one being during the day. But rest assured, the weather is always a factor in Orchard Park. When you have the field level of that stadium is actually 25 to 30 feet underground. So that wind just circulates, and it causes a lot of stress for an opposing defense, offense. You could look at it either way.
I just thought I heard it was going to snow. I thought I heard it was going to snow or something like that. I don't know where I got that from.
I wouldn't be shocked if it did.
All right, so really quick. All right, so real Thomas Gutman in the comments. What's up, fellas? I heard some bad news. Berrios and Moore are out for Sunday. Is this true?
Yes.
Now, listening to ESPN all day today, and I actually did not hear anything to the fact of that. I heard that Berrios has been doubtful, and that Moore was going to be a game time unless that changed.
It's Salas said in the press conference that it's not looking good. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and I'm considering that no right now.
I'm considering that no.
Yeah.
Last game of the year,
right.
we know what Moore is. We know what Braxton Berrios is. I don't necessarily. I would love to beat Buffalo, obviously at home. I mean, they'll get a little bit of pride heading into the offseason, but at the same time, I mean, I want to get Braxton Berrios re-signed. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Just give you a heads up. And I don't want to put any undue strain on Moore's recovery. So it's not, to me, it's not that important to have him in.
Yeah.
I'd be the first.
I think.
Oh, yep, you go
ahead,
there,
Ryan.
Spotty. Yep, no, you're good.
Okay. I was just gonna say I thought this might be a Denzel Mims. This might be a Denzel Mims day. But I only say that because I think it's the last game and they try to force it. That's what I want them to force it. I want them to give him every opportunity to get it together. Like,
I don't even know.
We'll give you just enough room for you to hang.
Yeah, I don't even know who Denzel Mims is.
Right.
That guy.
That was no, I knew that was cool.
We hired a new equipment manager. I mean,
right.
Denzel Mims just reminds me of friggin' Stephen Hill. The games that he would ever show up for was against the Buffalo Bills. Other than that, he was non-existent.
Right.
Who was that there? Say that again for me. Which receiver was that?
Stephen Hill.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Stephen Hill.
Yeah, Stephen Hill. I remember that name. When it comes down to Berrios, man, that's one of those Jets players that I really like, and he was somebody that, I'm watching the Bills and Jets game. I think about it was either this season or last season, and I remember he was on the Patriots a little bit, and now he's on the Jets now, and I'm thinking that's one of those guys that, those underrated Patriots receivers that just get plucked. And it's very similar to like a Chris Hogan type receiver that bounced around from Miami to Buffalo to New England, obviously. So the Jets need the Jets need guys like that can kind of burst onto the scene. I think that they're capable of having guys that don't really stand on tape or on paper, but when it comes down to game time, X's and O's wise, they're mismatches. There are people that are physical and can get that yards after catch. And for a quarterback like Zach Wilson, who is so raw, to have those physical receivers around him, I feel like that's just going to help him progress. Whether it's slowly and steadily, he's going to progress, I think. So, I hope that for the Jets fans' sake, that much to the caption there on the top right, extend Berrios, I would assume that the Jets are going to try to extend Braxton Berrios at some point this offseason. If they didn't, I think that would be a big mistake. I would want him on Buffalo, I tell you that. I wouldn't mind having him on the Bills.
I'll say that Berrios provides I want to say like a Scotty Miller type of a feel, only slightly more productive. I can't. I love you, Braxton, but I can't say Wayne Corbett just yet. You're approaching it, but I can't say Wayne Corbett just yet.
He's
But
not. He's not quite
No,
approaching
he's
it.
getting there.
He's not. He's not
definitely
quite
getting
approaching it. No. He's
I
no.
don't know, man.
Look, I'm just gonna keep it real. I mean, you guys know I like Braxton Berrios, but I don't love Braxton Berrios. And like I said, it was a surprise that he even made the roster this season. To be perfectly honest with you, but from what it is that I've seen, from what it is that I've seen, he's balled all year. I'm not gonna say that the kids. What I've seen is it's not. I'm not saying that he hasn't shown, that he can kind of ball and that he has earned a place in this league. I'm not one of the folks that's just like, oh my God, we need to re-sign Braxton Berrios. I'm not in that camp. But
let's talk about. Hold on. Let's talk about talk about our keep and punt segment in the off season.
What I want to know, I want to know, being a guest on the show.
Look, I admit I said punt him. I admitted I said punt him. I didn't think he was going to make it. He's balled all season. But again, it still hasn't changed. It still doesn't change my mind about the fact that, what I'm saying. He's got this extra thick Jeremy Curley vibe to me. A guy that we loved here. He was a beast for us. But you go to another team and he's a scrub. And the only reason he was good for us is because we didn't have anybody else that was better than him. And look, he's a gadget guy. He's a five wide receiver. He's a punt returner, he's a kick returner, and he's a damn good one. If we pay him more than $5 million a year, I'd be surprised. If it even gets to $5 million a year, I'd be surprised. If they pay him $5, he got the hometown check. That's what that is. He got the bonus if he gets more than that. Look, I like Braxton Berrios. I like what he means, emotionally to the organization. Is he an exciting guy? He's a fun guy. He's at minimum, decent. You know what I'm saying? But at best, he's all right. He's kind of But I mean, it's limited in that. It's limited in that. And I'm gonna keep it real again. $5 million is my threshold right there. I'm done beyond that. If the conversation is that it goes beyond that,
then I say pay the man.
Yeah.
I say, to your point, that he could potentially get a hometown discount, being that the Jets are like the team that he first broke out with. So that's good news for the Jets. As far as what my questions are, like as a guest on a show, I like to ask questions to the people of the show that I'm joining. What do you guys think of the Buffalo Bills in terms of what you've seen currently, and how do you guys see the Buffalo Bills as far as this AFC? I'll say, as a Bills fan, I feel like it's wide open. I want your guys' take on that.
Mine's quick.
Go ahead, Kev.
First? I'll go first.
No,
okay.
go ahead. You're
okay. Because mine's quick.
No,
I like Buffalo. I don't think Buffalo makes it past the depending upon what happens this weekend. If they're going as the first seed, they're one and done. If they make it as the wild card, they make it to the second game and then they're done. But look, they're a good team. I don't know. It is wide open. I think I just see more from other teams right now, and I don't know if that's me just having the ingrained hate that I have for Buffalo, but I don't know. I'm like one and done when I see them now. I'm thinking they're one and done.
You think the Bills are one and done? Let's say if they play against anybody, or just Indy or like New England.
I think they would benefit from playing New England again if that really is just what it is. I don't think New England. I don't think New England is better than Buffalo. No, I don't believe that. I believe Buffalo is a better team than New England. Yes,
All right.
but getting outside of that, I'm not sure. Just the way everything's shaking out this season, there's been a hell of a lot of bad football being played everywhere, right? Like every weekend, guys, there's bad football, and I mean it's not just the Jets. I mean, and just to keep it in context, it's not just the Jets. There's bad football being played quite a bit, and even the really good teams are laying stinkers just at the most inopportune time. And I think obviously we talk about parity all the time and whatever, and I think that is the reality. But I'm not seeing enough continuity in a lot of these teams to say that I feel like they're just going to run through anybody in the playoffs right now. I'm hard pressed to say that there is one team, even though Buffalo is, I'd say Buffalo is kind of a mid team for me. Those are the teams that can get hot and make a run. I think maybe 1 or 2 games. I think at the most this season.
I'm a little more favorable than that. First and foremost, I got to give a huge shout out to Bills Mafia. You guys are able to come together as a community and do so much good work for your guys' community and across the country. And I see fundraising going on consistently. I see everybody helping everybody. So Bills Mafia, I got to give you credit for that. And then I got to take a little bit of it away because some of those guys in Bills Mafia are the most unreasonable people that I have ever spoken to in my entire life. And look, I don't demand respect for the New York Jets. I don't think anybody should demand respect for their team, especially to division rivals. But that seems to be a lot of our. I actually moderate an AFC East Facebook group, and it's a nightmare. 16,000 AFC East fans just going at it. It's a nightmare. But so overall, though, big shout out to Bills Mafia. You guys are pretty cool. I do like what you do. As far as like where I see Buffalo this year, I think you guys can make a Super Bowl push. It might end up an AFC Championship game again. I think Buffalo's got to figure out that running game. Singletary is just not the guy.
Right.
But if something happens and if some of the chips fall Buffalo's way, I can see you guys getting to the Super Bowl. But if Green Bay ends up as the opponent, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to ball out and tear up just about. I think Green Bay wins the Super Bowl this year is my prediction. But tear up. But overall.
Oh no, I'll let you continue. I thought you were done. My bad.
Yeah. No. Mine's actually quick. Unlike Kev. Kev says he's quick, and then he just goes.
Yeah, they just go.
Wow! Shots fired.
That's real loud. Look, he's not lying.
As far as the team. As far as the Buffalo Bills overall, I look at it objectively. I think you guys are a really good team. I think you have been a really good team for the last couple of years. I don't find anything historic about the franchise as far as like the performance this season. I think you're just a really solid football team. And forgive the way I'm saying this because, again, most of this is like in response to a lot of the Bills fans that I talk to in our AFC group. But I think that here's the biggest one that I get just railed against from Buffalo fans is I think Josh Allen has hit his ceiling. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. I think he's playing at an elite level. But I don't think that he's going to be a perennial Super Bowl type quarterback. I think he's going to win you guys a couple. That's for sure. But I think this about what we see from him this year and last year, I think that's about his ceiling.
He's a 12 to 15 quarterback with really high end physical ability and physical traits. But over the course of an entire season, I'm not sure how that, again, 12 to 15 doesn't always cut it. We'll see.
I'd put him 5 to 8.
Oh yeah, you know what? Okay.
Right now, as it stands, based on the season that I've watched, I will fully admit, knowing my Buffalo Bills and call it like it is. CJ knows I call it like it is with my team. I'm not just this biased, fan.
Mm-hmm.
If the Buffalo Bills didn't have Josh Allen on this team, they wouldn't even be 500. I think that there's a clear case that Josh Allen, if even the Bills somehow slip on a banana peel and don't win the division and go one and done, based on the season that he's had this year, he is a MVP candidate. Once again, he was an MVP candidate last year. He was runner-up for the MVP. So it's tough. I think to the extend Barrios Presidente, I would say that the Buffalo, that as far as the Bills go, like, I do agree with somewhat of both of what you said, that the Bills are a good team. They have the potential to be great, but they haven't consistently shown that. Despite the record, despite where they're at as far as one win away from their division, this division race was far too close for comfort. This should have been
how it started.
Yes, this should have been Buffalo's division through and through throughout the entirety of the season. And for whatever reason, it wasn't. But that for whatever reason is inconsistent, no run game, and bad play calling. I think for an offense as talented as Buffalo's, and I even saw that a little bit in the Jets game, in the first Jets game, where there were moments where we could have put you guys away a lot sooner. And great teams find a way to do that. Great teams always know when to put the gas on, put the pedal to the floor. And the teams that are that hesitant and kind of let teams bounce back in it are the teams that aren't really as for real as they think they are. And that's my sense on it. I really liked the point you hammered home about Green Bay in the Super Bowl, because I actually, before the season started, I had a dream that the Bills lost the Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers, and I woke up and I thought, please God, don't let that happen. So I didn't live. I was very little when they went to their the last two Super Bowls out of the 4 back in the 90s. So I didn't really get to experience the pain that brought into, like, my dad's life, my grandfather's life. I don't want to experience that. If I don't want to, I can't. I can't do it.
Anytime Packers fans start getting a little too big for their britches, I always just ask them one question: how does it feel to have 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks and 2 Super Bowls to show for it?
That's a great point. It's a great point. Fair point. But hey, I'd take those 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, we haven't won a Super Bowl since Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, man. Okay, so let's put that in perspective.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
You don't see a Super Bowl trophy in any of these pictures behind me, unfortunately. It is what it is.
Look, and some of my favorite teams too. Like, I've never been a fan of another team, but those Jim Kelly and those some of my favorite teams, really.
Oh yeah, Thurman Thomas back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was hardcore. You said that last time I was on the show, Spotty, that those were some of your favorite teams. Why is that? Why were they some of your favorite teams? I'd like to hear that.
You mean to tell you why? And this is ego talking right now, but I like to think that I'm a football purist. I love football. Mm-hmm. And those were football teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, respect what that means, right? When you say that, those were football teams. They had toughness. They had smarts. Marv Levy was, obviously, you have to give him the respect that he earned at being as good as he was for as long as he was, putting together those, Those were football teams, offense, defense, special teams. I talk about special teams all the time. Tasker, come on, man. Those were from top to bottom in their entirety. That's the epitome of what you would want a football team to be, right? I just I don't know.
Don't forget
The
Andre
defense in
Reed
particular.
and Don Beebe.
Look, no, I'm thinking more, Bruce Smith, Tally and all of them. That's I'm man, yeah.
I
Those
was
are
at,
football
I would say I got a funny story for you guys. I was at Chef's, which is a very famous Italian restaurant in Buffalo. It's the cream of the crop as far as their spaghetti parmesan. It's literally a bowl of spaghetti with cheese like over the top of it. You can't even see the spaghetti until you open the cheese up. It's just
the way it should be.
It's heaven. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there and I'm with my dad and I'm talking to my dad and he's facing me. My back's to the entrance and my dad's face just like fell. It just like, he was just like, and it was like a little kid in a candy store, and it was Bruce Smith and Daryl Talley walking in there. It was as recent as like last year. So that shows you like these guys, like that's what makes the Bills so special to me is that these guys are all still in this area. As the Extend Barrios Presidente said, the community is very small. Western New York is not a big community. It's not a big city. It's not a metropolis like New York City or New Jersey, but like East Rutherford. But it is a community that we pride ourselves on being Bills fans and rooting for our team and staying tough and paying it forward. So I appreciate you guys mentioning that because that means a lot to me that is recognized and it's exciting to see the city rally around this team again because this team has given us a lot of reasons to. And it'd be nice to win another AFC title. I'm just going to throw that out there, even though we got to do it against the Jets. But I have a feeling that the Jets, I'm not just saying this to say it, I really believe it. I have a feeling that the Jets in a couple years' time will be talking about a much more respectable football franchise. And at the end of the day, that's what every fan should have the chance to root for. And for a long time, I didn't have the chance to say that as a Bills fan. It was a joke being a Bills fan for the first 17 years of my life. But then things started to change, and hopefully, at some point, teams have ebbs and flows, and hopefully for the Jets fans, they can find their rhythm at some point.
I think we're talking about how the AFC East, just with the way that the teams were progressing at that time, would end up being one of the strongest divisions in football. And I think, with a few additional pieces, I think it does kind of level the playing field a little bit with respect to our team. But even Miami, still, we can't count the Patriots out. I mean, even as much as I genetically am predisposed to hating the Patriots, I think that you can't discount the fact that they're still a good team. So I mean, you're actually talking about having a Patriots team that's going to win 10. That's going to have 10 wins, right? You're going to talk about a Miami team that quite possibly could be a 10, 11 win team if they get some things together. And over the course of these next couple of seasons, I'm expecting us to maybe realistically expect 8, 9, 10 wins a season if we continue to move. And having that type of dichotomy within this division, I think anybody that comes out of the AFC East within the next 5-6 years, they're gonna be one of the better teams in the league. That's just how I see it.
And look at it this way too, and I actually just said this kind of casually in a conversation throughout my day, just talking to just a random stranger. He's wearing a Bills hat, I'm wearing a Bills hat, and we're talking about the game today. And we talked about Zach Wilson for a little bit. And when you look ahead and you look at this division, I mean, there's a core four of young quarterbacks. I'm not sold on Tua. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Tua would be ranked at the bottom of that list. And depending on how the Jets continue to build around Zach Wilson, he could very well be right up there with Mac Jones and Josh Allen in the crosshairs of that. I'd still rate Josh Allen number one. That's the guy that I would want on my team, just based on me seeing him every single week since week one. That's just my guy. Maybe I'm a little biased in saying that. I love Mac Jones too. I feel like he's a great player, but Zach Wilson has a lot of ability and talent that is very reminiscent of Allen, of a Mahomes, being able to roll out, being able to extend, stretch the field with his arm, and he's got some mobility to him too. And that's what I think is today's NFL. Guys that can extend plays, open up passing lanes, and find running lanes as well. And as long as they continue to slowly but surely build around him, I think he's going to be right there.
It's the biggest deal. Great points. Thank you.
Ryan, what did you
All right,
think
CJ.
when what did you think real
what was
quick?
that?
I just wanted to ask a question. Ryan, what did you think when Buffalo drafted Josh Allen? Just a kid from Wyoming. Like, was there concern? What were your thoughts on that?
So I'll go back to that, and CJ can attest to this, because that's when CJ and I really first started interacting, right around 2018. And CJ had me on the show. We met each other on social media, Twitter and Facebook, and he had me on the show a few times. I had him on my show a few times, and right as that draft really began, I knew that Buffalo was going to be taking a quarterback. It was a foregone conclusion. They practically wrote it in the stars, wrote it on a piece of paper, and held it up in front of Orchard Park, New York, saying, we're taking a quarterback in this draft. So I'm thinking, okay, I have to really dive deep. If this is the draft that they're going to find the guy, I need to know who that is and why that is who that is. I need to know who it is and why. So I really liked Josh Allen coming into that draft. The two guys that I liked were Allen and Darnold. Those were the two guys. I thought Mayfield, too small, too erratic. I didn't like the personality flair that he has.
Right.
And that proved so far to be right. Lamar Jackson, while an athletic talent, the likes of which I don't think we've seen at the quarterback position in quite some time, he leaves himself open for injury. He's not the biggest guy in terms of his weight, 6'2", but he looks pretty small in terms of his weight. He's not a thick guy like a Russell Wilson or Andrew Luck. And in terms of Josh Rosen, the elephant in the room that he is, I was not a fan of him, just based on the fact that his own college coach said that he would not start him again if he had the opportunity to. So you can go back to Jim Mora talking to Colin Cowherd, former UCLA coach. He said that he was not a leader, and I knew that Buffalo needed a natural-born leader. And I thought of all the guys that are in this class, the one that fits Buffalo, that's what we're talking about. Which player fits Buffalo? I thought Josh Allen would fit in like a glove, and I knew that he was raw, and I knew that coming out of Wyoming, you're not playing the cream of the crop, collegiate programs. But I also knew that the Bills didn't need him to win. He did, yeah, he did. But he's not out of USC or UCLA. But sure. To me, that didn't even matter anymore. That, like, in today's NFL, that really doesn't matter. I mean, your own quarterback, Zach Wilson, plays at BYU. Steve Young used to play there, back in the day. But prior to that, who was the last quarterback to be drafted and held in high regard in between Steve Young and Zach Wilson at BYU? There's a huge gap there. And Wyoming, I mean, I can't name another quarterback that was drafted out of Wyoming, let alone in the top 10. So I really liked Allen, and I read a lot about him, and I read that he tried to get into Fresno State. And Derek Carr tried to recommend that Fresno State give him a scholarship, and they didn't. And he was burned by that. He was really, ticked off by that. The first opportunity he got, he was going to take it and run with it. And that's why I think one of the many reasons why he did so well at Wyoming. But he comes in, and it was just from day one, he embraced Buffalo. He wanted to be a part of Buffalo. And if you show just a little bit of interest in being a part of Buffalo, Buffalo will show you the love. They will praise you. They'll make you feel like this is where you belong. And it's a match made in heaven, man. It is one of the best picks that the Bills have made in franchise history. It's crazy to say that, because a lot of fans at the time, not myself, but a lot of fans at the time really wanted Josh Rosen, and I can say with a huge smile that I'm very thankful that they didn't take Josh Rosen.
Yeah. I was one of the ones that was against the Darnold pick for the Jets. I said he turned the ball over at USC, only 27 games, 37 turnovers. That just wasn't my thing. But fortunately, I was wrong as well, because that draft I wanted Saquon Barkley. So thank God that didn't happen.
Look, and you guys know very, very loudly, I said that Lamar Jackson was going to end up being the best quarterback taken in that draft. And I mean, I don't know, it's kind of hard to argue right now, but Josh Rosen was, I think he was my least favorite quarterback that draft. I know for a fact I had he was behind Al. He was behind Josh Allen, and I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if Josh was going to be it. The inaccuracy kind of thing was scaring me. But I mean, I still had him ahead of Rosen.
and I tell you what, I offer you this too. Like, it's all situational too. Like, I don't know if Josh Allen would be Josh Allen if he didn't get picked by Buffalo. I don't know if he would be.
I know Lamar. I know Lamar wouldn't be Lamar if we would have drafted him. I know that. I guarantee that. He'd probably be dead.
Right. He'd be hurt. He'd be hurt a lot. Yeah, that's for sure. It's a great point. Yeah, and I mean, Darnold, CJ and I have talked about it a bunch of times. Like, maybe Sam Darnold isn't really that great. Maybe now that he's played on two different teams and he's had very mixed results, maybe he isn't that great. The Jets were right to move on from him in that regard, to just say, you know what, let's just start over.
Yep.
Sam Darnold's trash.
Remember a person who's on the show saying the Jets didn't deserve Sam Darnold because of how badly they were playing. And now that we've got to see him in a different offensive system and with a different coaching staff and so on, we all know that the kid was trash. And look, Ryan, you know this. I defended the kid from pillar to post, saying that, the Jets were doing so on and so forth and this, that, and the third. But you want to know something? I also came full circle the last year that he was here with Adam Gase. And I said, eventually, that coach is who's in your helmet, okay, calling plays or whatever, you got to figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, then guess what? It's not just the coaches. It's you too.
Yeah.
Because the same exact problems that he had in a New York Jets uniform, he's having in a Carolina Panthers uniform. So you know what, sports fans? You could rag on the Jets all you want, that we're quarterback killers and so on and so forth. Sometimes the player just outright sucks. And that's what happened to Sammy D. Sorry.
Well, the problems he's having in Carolina, he had in college and high school.
Yeah. Same stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the opportunity to go from one quarterback that hasn't done anything for you, that you drafted in the top 5, and you have another opportunity to take another quarterback in the top 5, it's kind of hard to not do that. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. The optics are like, hey, they just took one in the top 5. Now they got to take another one in the top 5. But hey, if you have the opportunity to do so, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Didn't they not take Zach Wilson while still having Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
No.
They couldn't even make it out of his rookie contract.
No, they didn't.
No.
Okay.
Sam was gone before.
Yeah, they traded him before. Yeah, they traded him before.
Okay. I thought I wasn't sure on that, but even so, okay. So even so, they trade Sam Darnold. Then that's really showing their hand that they're going after a quarterback. They're not going to start Joe Flacco, for Christ's sake. That's not going to.
At that point, I think it was a foregone conclusion. I don't think there was anyone that believed anything other than that we were going to draft, a quarterback at 2. So, there were some questions about if it was going to be Fields or Zack at one point, right? I mean,
right.
But Zack's the guy.
Fields ain't good either.
Do you guys at
Nah.
that time, we'll
All
go
right,
to
guys.
the quarterback. What was it?
Yeah, we got to get ready to wrap.
Oh, no
Come
problem.
on, CJ.
Yeah, we got to get ready to wrap it up. So Ryan, ask your last question, and then we're gonna get your social media information as we start to wrap it up.
My last question was actually a quick one. Rate Robert Salas' debut season as New York Jets head coach 1 out of 10. I want you guys to do that for me before we part ways.
6.
Ooh, I like this.
Okay. 6. Okay, I respect it.
Jimmy.
I'm going to say 7 because of the steady progression against tough teams this year.
Okay, I like it. What about you,
I'm
CJ?
at a 6. I'm at a 6 because of the abysmal
know what?
performances that we see on defense.
Mhm.
I'm at
Well,
Robert
that
Saleh, 8. And the reason why I'm
Okay.
going to give him an 8 is because I feel like that now, during the course of the season, we had to weather the storm in order to get to where we are now. By far, I don't want anybody to think that we've cleared the storm and we've got clear sailing ahead of us, because there's still a lot of work to do on this football team. But the one thing that I could honestly say with Robert Saleh that I like is the fact that he holds his guys accountable, holds himself accountable. He's not afraid to go out there and take the slings and arrows. And you know what? He's incredibly classy in his delivery. He's incredibly classy in the way that he handles specific situations. And most of all, he kind of does exactly what Douglas says. He does what Joe Douglas does. He tells you something, yet he tells you nothing. So which is good. He's very good at coach speak. He's a likable guy, and you could also see on the side the energy, the passion that he gives. You see the animation, especially after the Jets get a good play and he's on the sideline. He's high-fiving guys, and you see him stepping out on the field. And, like when there's bad calls and stuff like that, you see him absolutely go nuts on the sideline. All right, so like that get-back coach that they hired, okay, he's definitely earning his paycheck, I'll tell you that much. All right?
Right.
So for me, the reason why I feel like that it's an 8 is because I think that he got his baptism by fire this year. He's punching above his weight class with certain teams, as Jimmy alluded to. And he also learned to overcome a lot of the defensive shortcomings due to the lack of talent and questionable coaching, like Kevin brought up. So, glass is half full. There's still a lot more work that has to get done. But we're a better football team today than we were yesterday. And as long as tomorrow we're a better football team than we are today, and Sunday we're a better football team than we were, I'll take that. Because that's how winning is built, how winning culture is built, that's how a winning attitude is built. That's how people within that organization begin to believe in the process and begin to believe in the product that's on the field. I mean, look, the Jets spent 2 games with practice squad guys and taxi squad guys. All right? Don't give me Jacksonville's a crappy. Jacksonville and Darrell Bevel had much to play for as the Jets did. Darrell Bevel is auditioning for that job. And I promised everybody I was going to talk about the Jacksonville game, and I'm sorry, our show's going to run a little bit longer than usual tonight. So apologies beforehand to the World Watch Network and anyone on after us. All right? Darrell, that Jacksonville job. Don't get it twisted. The Jets beat a Jacksonville team that had absolutely everything to play for and nothing to lose. And the Jets came out on top, despite the fact they almost lost that game. And the Jets went toe-to-toe with the world champs using practice squad players and backups. And we almost beat them. There are positive takeaways to be taken from these games. There's even positive takeaways to take away from the Miami game, where we only played 30 minutes of football. Because at halftime, they know what they're supposed to do. They didn't make the defensive adjustments they were supposed to make. They didn't make the offensive adjustments that they needed to make in order to be competitive in the second half. You can't keep missing on this football team anymore. They're not going to take it anymore. And that's what the Jets have shown the past 3 games. And we still need to show it one more time, Buffalo Bills. All right, with that, we're going to wrap up Weapons Hot here. Ryan, thank you so much for taking time out to joining us tonight. Please give out all your social media information so fans of Weapons Hot can follow you and interact with you and, obviously talk trash and all that good stuff.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me on again, boys. I really appreciate it. You guys can find me on Twitter at Ryan Thomas Take, tweeting all things NFL, not just Buffalo Bills, covering the league. Awesome stuff. I appreciate you guys following me as well. Combat sports, UFC, MMA, anything boxing oriented. We got some big UFC fights coming up. The heavyweight title fight is in 2 weeks. Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane. It's going to be an awesome fight. And I want you guys to follow me on there at Ryan Thomas Take. My Instagram is the same handle. Been very active on Instagram as well. My podcast is the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. It's available on any and all podcasting platforms, audio or visual, YouTube, Facebook, as well Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Appreciate the support.
Just got you followed.
Yes. Thank you, buddy. Last and certainly not least, guys, I leave you with this. Go Bills.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Thanks, Ryan. We appreciate you once again, brother. Thank you very much.
Fired.
You guys take care.
Bills,
Stay
go.
safe
Ryan,
out there, all right?
Not tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Stay safe out there.
Yup, you as well. All right, you can follow the show on Twitter at CNC Jets Factor. You can follow me at JetsFan0523. My partners in crime on the other side of the glass, Mr. Kevin Jackson at Spotty Blackman, Jimmy the Reaper Jardine at Jets by Jimmy. 3 ways you can consume Weapons Hot. Number 1, on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network every Friday night at 7 p.m. right here. Number 2, Weapons Hot After Dark on YouTube.com. We do 2 shows a month. Okay, it's the unfiltered, uncensored version of this show. Okay? No disrespect to Radio Network, but we respect their boundaries first and so on and so forth that.
And that's coming.
3, I do a solo show called Weapons Hot Mission Briefs on Jet World. Be sure to check me out there. Give the shows likes, follows. We got a Facebook page. Give us a like. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. All that good stuff. Message us a message right back. We love going back and forth with fans about this team. Regardless of your point of view, we will talk to you. All right? So, with that, for Jimmy the Reaper Jardine, Mr. Kevin Jackson, otherwise known as Spotty Blackman. Ladies, make sure you write that down in your little black books. My name is CJ the Pankiller DeSimone. We are signing off tonight. We'll see you guys. When we see you guys, peace, love, go Jets. And I'm going to leave you guys with the best chant still, in my opinion, National Football League.
That one actually played right there.
This has been Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.